Many heinous characters have come into public view and shocked the world with their vile acts, just to fade away into the annals of history, remembered only in spooky campfire tales and sleepover stories. TJ Lane is a different story. You'll find this cold and callous creep sinking into your nightmares for years to come. TJ Lane was born into trouble. His mom and father were both combative and each spent time behind bars for various battery charges. Combine that with their substance issues, and there was always a problem in the works. Around the age of 3 years old, custody of TJ, his half-brother Adam, and little sister Sadie was awarded to their grandparents. The three wild children proved too much for the couple to handle, and the kids soon behaved however they pleased. Adam was a troublesome teen with a long list of previous charges. Adam and TJ often teamed up together for both fun and mischief. Like the time Adam, their grandfather, during an argument, and TJ jumped in to keep him from fighting back. He was only 15 years old at the time. Police had already been to the house earlier in the day to settle a disturbance, but left the family to figure it out. So this time, they took them both to jail. TJ was sentenced to community work and ordered to pay a fine. Smart but quiet and withdrawn, TJ Lane entered Chardon High School in 2010. He ate lunch alone and didn't socialize or join in any other school activities. But the other kids didn't consider him an outcast, just a loner who would respond courteously when engaged, but preferred to keep to himself. He took senior-level classes, although he was still a junior, and spoke of plans to go on to college and major in psychology. It was a bit of a surprise when TJ got a girlfriend. She seemed to be able to get close to him when no one else had, despite his standoffish nature. Peers say he showed a more personable and softer side after the relationship began, but was often jealous and intimidating toward her. He demanded a lot of her time and insisted on knowing her whereabouts at all times. No one suspected this mild-mannered young man was soon to become one of the most notorious school shooters in American history. In the months leading up to the horrific event, TJ and his girlfriend broke up. He seemed to take it well, even when she began dating another student at Chardon High, Russell King. According to ABC News reports, kids from the school said a rivalry had started. King had reportedly made rude and threatening statements to TJ, who told others that he was learning fighting skills in preparation. After stealing a firearm from his uncle the night before, on February 27, 2012, TJ put it in his backpack and went to school. The morning hustle and bustle of high school life was underway as TJ went into the cafeteria and sat behind a group of boys as they waited for a bus. He watched them carefully. According to witnesses who said after a few moments, he moved to a table directly behind the boys. It was only a matter of minutes before he pulled the firearm from his duffel bag and aimed at the boys, Daniel Parmator, Demetrius Hewlin, and Russell King, as he unleashed his fury. All three were fatally hit in the head. Nick Walchak sustained shots to the neck, arm, and leg. Barely conscious and paralyzed below the chest, he dragged himself into the hallway, where teacher Joseph Ricci pulled him to safety. Mr. Ricci administered CPR until help arrived. Because of his efforts, Nick survived. Nick was confused as he watched TJ tear through the cafeteria. He thought they were friends They talked in school occasionally, and he'd even driven him home from school in the past. Frank Hall, the Chardon High football coach, was taking attendance in study hall when he heard the sounds like firecrackers and went to check it out. That's when he discovered TJ standing amid a mass of screaming, running students. Some were lying at his boots. Nate Mueller was nicked in the ear as he ran for cover. He was sitting at the same table as the boys, who now lay lifeless around him. Students barricaded themselves in classrooms as they waited out the horror story that was happening. One of them was TJ's own sister, Sadie. My heart goes out to the families. I was one of those terrified kids hiding under a desk. I understand, she said in a press conference after TJ's sentencing. Frank charged at TJ, who took aim but missed, hitting another classmate, Joy Rickers. Frank is a large and formidable man, and as he got closer, TJ turned and ran out of the school. Police arrived 9 minutes after the tragedy started. They had been flooded by emergency calls from both students and teachers. The culprit was no mystery. Everyone saw who did it. TJ Lane was arrested at 8:36 a.m. when police found him walking approximately a mile from the school, still carrying his firearm. He fully admitted what he'd done, but said he didn't know why. No mention of his ex-girlfriend or the fact that her new boyfriend was one of his targets. He told police if Coach hadn't given chase when he did, more lives would have been taken. The firearms clip was empty. He was about to put in a new one when Coach Hall started chasing him. It was quickly decided that TJ would face trial as not a juvenile, despite being a minor. Had he been tried as a minor, the worst punishment he could get was being behind bars until his 21st birthday. Defense attorneys first claimed TJ was not guilty by reason of insanity, but changed his plea to guilty just before the trial began and opted not to present any evidence. The prosecution indicated TJ chose his targets completely at random and had no rhyme or reason for what he did. They made it clear that he thought TJ was sick, saying, This is someone who is not well." Daniel Parmerter's father also believes TJ targets were random, as he stated at a news conference. Daniel did not know TJ. Throughout the many legal proceedings before trial, TJ reverted to his quiet, loner persona and made no comment on his case. In September 2012, TJ's brother Adam passed away of a tragic overdose. His defense team announced that he was surprised and devastated. Instead of flowers, the families asked for donations to a teen crisis center. With the sentencing hearing in March 2013, many thought TJ would use the opportunity to speak to the families he had affected with his devastating actions. What he did instead was so unspeakable, the courtroom audibly gasped. He entered the courtroom with the word "killer" scrawled on his white t-shirt, as if this were some sick joke. He offered no apology or excuse, as the families of his victims gave impact statements, only scathing curse words and obscene gestures. Gone was the solemn, contemplative TJ that everyone knew. What sat before the court was a defiant, smirking jerk. The families gave their final statements. TJ grinned in response to their pain. As he sat chuckling and smiling, TJ Lane received a sentence of 3 life terms without parole. Far from a model prisoner, TJ has been known to cause problems. In 2014, TJ and 2 other inmates escaped from Allen Oakwood Correctional Institute. Using forged materials, the 3 men managed to fashion a 13-foot ladder and keep it hidden until they made their escape. They'd found a locked storage space, but were able to break into it. That's where they found discarded wood cabinets and used them to build a ladder over the span of several months. Using the ladder to get to a lower floor, they jumped the remaining 15 feet and ran through a neighboring soybean field. Fortunately, freedom was short-lived. TJ was found hiding under a church only 100 yards from the prison, holding a pitchfork. The 3 escapees were apprehended within 6 hours and transferred to Ohio State Penitentiary in Youngstown, a supermax prison that no one has ever escaped. The surviving family members filed a lawsuit against TJ's family, the school district, and many others. In 2016, they were awarded $2.6 million in a wrongful death settlement. 40% was allotted to attorney fees. TJ has never revealed any motive for his horrendous actions at Chardon High School. Do you think it was a broken heart that drove him to it? Or was he always a simmering pot, ready to explode for unknown reasons? Should TJ have been tried as if he were over 18? How do you feel about people who show no remorse in even the most disgusting circumstances? Get in on the conversation and leave your comments below. Like and subscribe for more content just like this.